In the spring of 1846, Christie, Texas, buzzed with life as a frontier town on the brink of the wild, untamed wilderness. The streets were alive with merchants, settlers, and workers, their voices intertwining into a vibrant melody of hope and resilience. Amid this energetic backdrop, a lone figure occupied a quiet corner in the modest hotel lobby. He appeared calm, yet driven, holding a handwritten note and reading it with the detached composure of someone familiar with grim tidings. Yet this was no ordinary correspondence. The note detailed the Comanche, a nation renowned for their exceptional horsemanship, which had established them as rulers of the southern plains. Their territory, known historically as Comancheria, spanned vast, undefined expanses that allowed them to dictate their own fate. For many years, the Comanche had maintained a delicate equilibrium of power with Mexico and the advancing Anglo settlers. However, the tide of expansion, intensified by the ideology of manifest destiny, now threatened their lands and way of life. The message outlined recent raids, settlements devastated, families uprooted, and fear gripping the frontier. Few others in history could match the Comanche's combat skills. Their rapid, strategic assaults represented a level of agility and fierceness that few could rival in the Old West. Nonetheless, this fragile balance of power mirrored a larger clash between indigenous sovereignty and the unrelenting wave of colonization. The man in the hotel lobby folded the note with care, his face revealing determination, not trepidation. He stepped out onto the bustling street, moving purposefully, his name known far and wide. This was Captain John Coffee Hayes, widely recognized as Captain Jack Hayes, a figure destined for greatness in Texas history. As a leader of the Texas Rangers, a paramilitary group formed in the heat of frontier struggles, he now faced a daunting reality. Pursuing a formidable group of 600 Comanche warriors, whose movement loomed threateningly southwest of San Antonio. Undeterred by the overwhelming odds, Captain Jack Hayes and his 40 Texas Rangers embarked on their mission to track the Comanche. Despite being significantly outnumbered, Hayes recognized their strengths in adaptable strategies, the utilization of rugged terrain, and close collaboration with native scouts. He opted for a path along the Medina River, where the rocky landscape could facilitate ambushes and minimize the dangers associated with engaging such a large force directly. As the Rangers moved north, they reached Bandera Pass, a location rich in legend and strategic significance. Once a crucial crossroads for both travelers and raiders, Bandera Pass provided the Rangers their initial view of the terrain that would shape the imminent confrontation. Here, the landscape transformed, directing them into the heart of the southern plains, where the Comanche had traditionally held power. With invaluable assistance from their Native American scouts, who possessed essential knowledge of the land and its concealed paths, the Rangers followed the subtle but revealing signs of the Comanche's passage. Their pursuit led them northwest, past the famous Enchanted Rock, a massive granite outcrop steeped in legend and significance for numerous generations of indigenous peoples. Enchanted Rock stood silently, a testament to the profound connection between the land and its inhabitants. Utilizing faint traces on the ground and intelligence from their scouts, Hayes and his men concluded that the Comanche's objective was a small lake near Paint Rock. This watering hole was a crucial stop for raiders, valued for its plentiful resources and defensible location. Understanding the urgency of intercepting their enemies before they could rest and regroup, Hayes urged his men to move forward swiftly, maneuvering through the harsh terrain while racing against the clock. Fueled by resolve, Hayes drove his men onward without pause. Past midnight, the Rangers pressed on, stopping only briefly to catch their breath beneath the cloak of night. At dawn, they mounted again, continuing their journey across the rugged, limestone-laden landscape. The trek was arduous, with every step proving to be a significant challenge. Despite their exhaustion, the Rangers' determination remained strong, fueled by the urgent necessity of intercepting the Comanche before they vanish into the wilderness. By early evening, Captain Jack Hayes and his group of Rangers reach Paint Rock, a site adorned with ancient pictographs, crafted by the hands of indigenous peoples long before the current conflict. These vivid symbols serve as silent testaments to the cycles of history, highlighting the land's profound significance to the Comanche and their forebears. Nearby lies the essential watering hole, an exquisite pond tucked away in the rugged terrain, a refuge for travelers and raiding parties alike. For Hayes and his men, this moment is both a victory and a tense pause. They have arrived at the lake ahead of the Comanche, but time is of the essence. Quickly, the Rangers and their native scouts establish a position within a dense thicket of willow trees at the northern edge of the pond. The thick underbrush offers excellent cover for an ambush, but also harbors the risks of the approaching night. As the sun sinks below the horizon, the landscape succumbs to the tranquility of night. Shadows stretch out, and the stillness of the pond reflects the growing anticipation. Hayes, ever the diligent leader, assigns sentinels to stand guard while instructing the fatigued men to rest as best they can. For these Rangers, accustomed to the rigors of frontier life, even a brief moment of respite is a rare luxury. The night drifts by in relative silence, interrupted only by the distant sounds of nocturnal creatures. To the weary soldiers, the hours blur together. Soon, the first pale rays of sunlight break through the eastern sky, gently illuminating the thicket. The men awaken, their bodies stiff and worn, yet their spirits unyielding. The stage is set for a confrontation that will be etched in history. As the morning sun's first light spills over the horizon, the forms of Comanche warriors become visible in the distance, their silhouettes stark against the muted glow. Dozens of figures expertly maneuver stolen horses, gliding with the ease and precision of experienced riders. The scene is enveloped in early morning fog, a product of the muggy Texas air, lending the pond an almost ethereal quality. For the Comanche, this is just another strategic stop along their route. To the Rangers concealed in the nearby thicket, it signifies the beginning of a crucial showdown. Captain Jack Hayes remains calm and composed, despite the gravity of the situation, as he moves quietly among his men. His instructions are delivered in low, measured whispers. They must wait for his signal before unleashing the first volley. Every Ranger understands the stakes. Timing is of the essence, and Hayes is a leader whose commands are never second-guessed. Although he is of average height and build, Hayes exudes an undeniable aura of authority. His voice, while high-pitched, clearly cuts through the tension enveloping the group. Known for his thoughtful demeanor and unparalleled tactical acumen, Hayes contrasts sharply with the rough and often unruly men of his command. Yet, this blend of discipline and respect has earned him their unwavering loyalty. They trust him completely, aware that their survival hinges on his strategic insight. As the fog thickens, the Comanche draw nearer, their movements appearing almost spectral in the mist. The Rangers grip their weapons tightly, breathing steadily but filled with anticipation. The calm before the storm lingers, each passing second stretching longer as Hayes awaits the ideal moment to spring into action. In the harsh terrain of Texas, where violence and survival are intertwined, Captain Jack Hayes stands out as a respected and unique figure among the rugged men of the Texas Rangers. He commands not only authority, but also genuine loyalty and respect, reflecting his skill, calm nature, and steadfast leadership. Familiar with the brutality of the frontier, Hayes's reputation as a tactician and fierce warrior precedes him. The Comanche are acutely aware of his abilities, and as the two forces prepare to collide, the air is heavy with the weight of history and the certainty of conflict. The Comanche recognize the formidable opponent they face in Jack Hayes. To them, he embodies a significant threat, a leader who has consistently undermined their raids with meticulous strategy. Among the Comanche, a Texas Ranger's scalp is a prized trophy, symbolizing victory in their ongoing struggle for dominance across the southern plains. Yet, the scalp of Jack Hayes himself stands out as the most coveted trophy, signifying his legendary status in the vast territory once known as Comancheria, the contested land of the Comanche people. Despite his fame, Hayes is acutely aware of the seriousness of the situation as he crouches in the underbrush with his men, both rangers and native scouts. He knows their survival relies on two essential elements: maintaining the element of surprise and launching a quick, decisive attack. This is not the moment for overconfidence. The slightest error could lead to catastrophe. The Comanche are not just fierce warriors, but also skilled tacticians with unparalleled knowledge of the land and combat. For the Rangers, this standoff is fraught with danger, with every decision and movement crucial in determining whether they will see another dawn or fall prey to their relentless foes. For what seems like an eternity, the Comanche approach the watering hole in a loose, spread-out formation, a strategic choice that minimizes their exposure to ambush. Mounted on their swift, battle-hardened horses, they glide forward with practiced ease, embodying centuries of skill honed on the southern plains. The stillness of the moment is palpable, punctuated only by the distant thud of hooves on soft ground and the occasional rustle of the underbrush. Then, the tension abruptly breaks. The morning air, still thick with fog, is shattered by Jack Hayes's unmistakable, high-pitched Tennessean command. Fire! In an instant, the Rangers and Scouts unleash their first volley. The sharp crack of single-shot rifles echoes across the pond, startling birds into flight and disrupting the tranquility. The shots pierce the fog, though not all find their target, a reminder of the chaotic nature of battle. In the initial moments of tumult, several Comanche warriors are thrown violently from their horses, their lifeless bodies collapsing to the ground. The remaining warriors, caught off guard, instinctively pull back to the safety of rifle range to regroup. The fog that once concealed their advance now complicates matters, obscuring the battlefield and preventing the retrieval of their fallen comrades. As the sun rises higher, its light begins to disperse the mist, bringing the scene into sharper focus. From their vantage point, the Comanche assess their adversaries. By observing the tracks and positions left by the Rangers, they quickly discern a crucial detail. Their enemies are far fewer in number than they had initially believed. The Comanche's numerical superiority, along with their tactical savvy, presents a distinct advantage, one they are eager to capitalize on. As the confrontation unfolds, the Comanche assess their situation and recognize their numerical superiority, prompting a bold decision to launch a direct assault on the willow thicket. With the sun fully risen, its golden rays illuminating the battlefield, tension mounts among the Rangers and their native scouts. At the front of the Comanche ranks stands their chief, adorned with an elaborate headdress, its feathers and embellishments a testament to his status and skills. With a commanding presence, he rallies his warriors, urging them to fight with courage and unwavering ferocity. Formed beyond rifle range, the Comanche organize into a long, single line, their formation both intentional and intimidating. The atmosphere is thick with anticipation, as Captain Jack Hayes, always composed and strategic, gives calm but resolute instructions to his men. Choose one warrior, take careful aim, and fell him. For the Rangers, armed with single-shot rifles and the newly introduced revolver pistols, every shot is critical. Hayes's reminder serves not only as a call for discipline, but also as a stark recognition of the high stakes at play. The battle is far from concluded, and the fate of both sides hangs precariously in the balance. The grim reality is unmistakable. If each bullet isn't used wisely, they risk being overwhelmed by the fierce warriors charging toward them. For a fleeting, almost dreamlike moment, the scene holds the Rangers in a spellbound awe. The Comanche, with their bold advance and impressive arsenal, seem to have emerged from the pages of history. Their short, sturdy bows, reminiscent of those wielded by Genghis Khan's Mongol forces, have been expertly adapted for quick and accurate use on horseback. Through these bows, the Comanche have redefined the rules of mounted combat on the southern plains, turning their agility into a devastating advantage. In addition, the Comanche employ shields made from thick buffalo hide, specially treated to absorb impacts from arrows and, in some cases, even deflect bullets from a distance. Though these shields are not invulnerable to close-quarter rifle fire, they are crafted to lessen the likelihood of serious injury. Their 14-foot lances, originally designed for buffalo hunting, have evolved into lethal weapons for mounted warfare, showcasing the cleverness and adaptability of the Comanche warriors. As the Rangers and Scouts brace themselves for this ancient and formidable spectacle, a sense of historical weight presses upon them. For nearly 2 centuries, the Comanche have ruled this land, their methods instilling fear across the frontier. Now, the Rangers find themselves engaged not only in a struggle for survival, but also in a clash with a living legacy forged through conflict and resilience. At this pivotal moment in history, Hayes and his men are not armed with the legendary Walker Colt pistols, known for their outstanding firepower, but rather with the earlier Patterson Colt revolver, chambered in .44 caliber. This weapon signifies progress in firearm technology, yet it is far from ideal. Holding 5 rounds in its rotating cylinder, reloading it is a cumbersome affair, requiring the entire cylinder to be removed. To counter this, the Rangers carry preloaded spare cylinders, relying on their ability to reload quickly amid the chaotic demands of battle. As the Comanche warriors advance, the Rangers find themselves momentarily transfixed by the impressive sight that unfolds. Leading the charge is the Comanche chief, a figure both imposing and awe-inspiring. He rides at the forefront of the formation, dressed in a fringed buckskin shirt, decorated with gleaming silver ornaments that sparkle in the sunlight. A buffalo headdress, topped with a tuft of buffalo hair, partially obscures his face, adding to his enigmatic aura. In his grip are a large shield and a spear, emblems of his leadership and battle-hardened experience. His very presence resonates with the confidence of a warrior well acquainted with the chaos and brutality of combat. For a brief moment, some of the Rangers pause, captivated by the chief's authoritative figure and the breathtaking scene unfolding before them. One man even whispers, "Too beautiful to shoot." However, the enchantment is quickly shattered as the Comanche warriors launch their furious charge. The stillness of the air is pierced by the thunderous sound of hooves and the shrill echo of war cries, a stark reminder of the formidable force hurtling toward the thicket. The Comanche formation begins to adopt its familiar shape, a swirling cyclone of riders. This tactic, refined over generations, involves warriors circling around their target. As they approach the Rangers' location, each rider releases an arrow with remarkable precision, before retreating to the back of the formation to reload, only to return moments later for another strike. The rhythm is mesmerizing, almost automatic, showcasing the warrior's discipline and proficiency in mounted combat. The Rangers refrain from firing, holding out for the Comanche to get within effective range. The air is thick with tension as they observe the advancing cyclone, the din of thundering hooves intensifying with every heartbeat. Each man tightly grips his weapon, fully aware that the moment they open fire will signal the start of a battle that will test their bravery, skill, and determination to their utmost limits. The Comanche charge surges forward with relentless intensity, the air thick with the sound of hundreds of arrows descending upon the thicket. These deadly projectiles slice through the thick brush, striking trees and narrowly missing the concealed Rangers. The chaotic symphony of war cries, hoofbeats, and bowstring twangs is abruptly drowned out by a thunderous eruption of gunfire. Smoke billows from the thicket as the Rangers release their second volley, the roar of the shots cutting through the turmoil like a storm. The impact is swift and catastrophic. Dozens of Comanche warriors tumble from their saddles, their lifeless forms collapsing onto the earth. In the aftermath, riderless horses, spooked by the gunfire, gallop wildly across the battlefield. Some charge directly towards the Rangers, while others return instinctively to the safety of their comrades in the swirling formation. The sudden casualties momentarily disrupt the momentum of the charge, but the Comanche, undaunted, quickly adapt. Instead of engaging in a direct confrontation, they veer southward, seeking to flank the Rangers and circumvent their fortified position. This strategic maneuver compels the Rangers to split their focus. Meanwhile, the injured Comanche on the ground, some barely clinging to consciousness, struggle painfully towards the cliffs of Paint Rock, seeking refuge among its rugged formations. Their slow, desperate movements sharply contrast with the fierce energy of their mounted allies. Realizing the Comanche might regroup at the elevated cliffs, Captain Hayes swiftly reorganizes his forces. The Rangers are divided into smaller units, each assigned to protect a specific area and poised to fire when necessary. Hayes also takes advantage of the dense thicket surrounding the lake to bolster their defensive stance. Native scouts are dispatched to closely track the Comanche's movements, ensuring the Rangers are ready to react to any sudden attacks. Remaining calm under pressure, Hayes calls out to his men, "Make every shot count." His words cut through the tension like a sharp blade, a stark reminder that their survival hinges on precision and discipline. The Rangers and scouts hold their fire, their eyes locked on the advancing warriors. The pounding of galloping horses grows louder, shaking the ground beneath the force of the charge. Hayes signals, and the air erupts in a deafening fusillade of gunfire. The charge crashes against the Rangers' defense, but the thicket stands strong. Comanche warriors fall amid the chaos, their mounts becoming spooked and riderless. Yet the assault is far from over. The remaining Comanche regroup at the northern edge of the lake, where their leaders gather to strategize their next move. Though momentarily victorious, the Rangers understand they have only gained a brief respite. The Comanche, showcasing their strategic brilliance, opt for a lance charge, a tactic aimed at closing in on the Texans and scouts for lethal close combat. The plan is as audacious as it is perilous. By tightening their formation, the Comanche rely on their formidable strength and the impressive reach of their 14-foot lances to penetrate the thicket's defenses and bring the battle to a swift conclusion. For the Rangers, the stakes are incredibly high. As the afternoon drags on, the Comanche warriors initiate yet another charge, their numbers and resolve unwavering despite the increasing casualties. Hundreds of riders surge forward, their war cries echoing across the battlefield as they relentlessly assault the fortified Rangers. The air becomes a cacophony of pounding hooves and the sharp whistle of arrows slicing through. Once again, the pinpoint precision of the Rangers' fire forces the Comanche to retreat, their advance thwarted by the disciplined volleys emanating from the thicket. However, the fight is far from over. Time and again, the Comanche regroup and attack, their anger and determination intensifying with each failed assault. The cycle of charge and withdrawal continues, a ceaseless struggle for supremacy on the harsh frontier. The thicket transforms into a nightmarish and exhausting fortress, steeped in the chaos of battle. As the sun starts to set, the Comanche, bloodied yet determined, finally retreat beyond rifle range. They set up camp in plain sight of the Rangers and scouts, their position a provoking reminder that the fight is far from over. Inside the thicket, Captain Jack Hayes remains watchful, aware that the battle could reignite at any moment. He stations sentries throughout the night to monitor any movement from the enemy camp. The Rangers, though fatigued, find solace in their proximity to the lake, which provides them drinking water while keeping the Comanche at bay. The lack of water forces the Comanche to trek miles to quench their thirst, further straining their warriors and horses. As darkness envelops the battlefield, tranquility remains elusive. The Comanche, reluctant to abandon their fallen, make repeated attempts to sneak onto the battlefield to recover the bodies of their slain comrades. Under the cover of night, their movements are quick and silent, reflecting their skill and deep respect for the deceased. However, each attempt faces fierce resistance as the vigilant Rangers respond with gunfire. The sporadic crack of weapons pierces the stillness, a grim reminder that the battle's toll reaches far beyond daylight hours. For both sides, sleep is a rare luxury. The Rangers rest uneasily, anticipating another dawn assault, while the Comanche, encamped close to their enemies, endure the dual pain of fatigue and sorrow. As the moon casts its ghostly glow over the battlefield, the stage is set for another day filled with bloodshed and resolve. With the rise of a new day, the sun casts its unrelenting heat over the already scarred battlefield. The Comanche warriors, their spirits unbroken, charge forth once more against the entrenched Rangers and scouts. Their ferocity echoes throughout the area, a reflection of their unyielding desire to dislodge the Texans. The morning air fills again with the pounding of hooves and the fierce cries of warriors, heralding the start of another arduous day. Wave after wave, the Comanche surge towards the thicket, their movements calculated and precise. The Rangers, seasoned yet weary, feel the weight of the incessant attacks. As the hours pass, the Comanche adjust their tactics, splitting into 4 groups, each ready to assault the thicket from a different angle. This clever maneuver aims to disorient and overwhelm, forcing the defenders to split their focus and resources, escalating the tension among the Rangers. Time and again, the Comanche come alarmingly close to breaching the thicket's defenses. Warriors wielding 14-foot lances, tools of both hunt and battle, strike with deadly accuracy, intent on impaling their foes. Hemmed in and surrounded, the Rangers fight with a grim awareness that a single breach could lead to catastrophe. Dust, sweat, and the acrid stench of gunpowder permeate the air. Throughout the day, the Comanche attacks remain relentless, each charge fueled by fierce determination. Though battered and scorched, the thicket stands as a fragile bastion for the Texans. It is only as the sun begins to set that the Comanche finally pull back, retreating once more beyond rifle range to regroup. Their campfires twinkle in the dusk, a haunting reminder of the inevitable conflict to come. For the Rangers, the brief respite carries a bittersweet flavor. While they have successfully repelled another day of assaults, the burden of vigilance and dwindling supplies weighs heavily on their minds. The Comanche, far from vanquished, have demonstrated their tactical prowess and unyielding spirit. As the day comes to an end, the battlefield rests in a tense and uneasy silence, the anticipation of another violent dawn hanging in the air. With night approaching, Captain Jack Hayes stands firm, his mind already turning over the next steps in this perilous game of survival and tactics. Captain Jack Hayes issues a solemn yet crucial order. His men must find rest, even though sleep is a fleeting comfort on the battlefield. Hayes recognizes that their survival hinges on both physical stamina and mental clarity. Under the sprawling night sky, the Rangers and Scouts settle in for another night filled with unease, their senses sharpened by the lurking threat of the Comanche camped nearby. Before dawn breaks, the stillness is shattered. Comanche warriors, emerging from the fog of early morning, launch yet another assault. The battle has entered its third day, and the exhaustion etched into Hayes and his men is matched only by their deepening concern. Each volley of gunfire saps their dwindling ammunition, while whispers of Comanche runners sent for reinforcements cast a heavy shadow over the grim morning. The Rangers are acutely aware of their precarious situation, outnumbered, surrounded, and uncertain of outside assistance. As the hours drag on, the Comanche concentrate their attacks on the northern side of the thicket, unleashing wave after wave of relentless onslaughts. The Rangers, entrenched but resolute, maintain their position with remarkable discipline and precision. Each charge is met with a barrage of gunfire, and with every exchange, the Comanche suffer heavy losses. Yet the Rangers fight on, understanding that a single mistake could unravel their tenuous defense. The battlefield transforms into a grim tableau of slaughter, with fallen warriors, both Comanche and Texan, scattered across the blood-stained ground. Horses, once symbols of agility and might, now lie lifeless, adding to the macabre spectacle. The air hangs heavy with the scent of death, a constant reminder of the toll the battle is taking on both sides. Despite their increasing casualties, the Comanche refuse to concede, their determination matching the steadfastness of the defenders. For Hayes and his men, the third day serves as a harrowing test of endurance, strategy, and sheer will. As the sun climbs higher, its relentless heat bears down on both the living and the dead, a silent observer of the brutal costs of this drawn-out conflict. As the sun ascends, casting light on the blood-soaked battlefield, the Comanche war chief rises with an air of resolute determination. Standing before his warriors, his commanding presence radiates authority and unwavering resolve. Though the Rangers hidden in the thicket cannot hear his voice, the tone is unmistakable, a rallying cry for one last, decisive charge. The scene is telling. The Comanche are ready to sacrifice everything for this final offensive, their fierce resolve echoing across the plains. Moments later, the final charge commences. Comanche warriors, arranged with strategic precision, thunder toward the thicket at full gallop. The ground quakes under the impact of their rushing horses, and their war cries, fierce and piercing, resound throughout the battlefield. It is a moment filled with raw power and defiance, both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The Rangers and Scouts, following Captain Hayes's instructions, hold their fire, biding their time for the perfect opportunity to strike. Amid the tumult, Hayes steps forward, positioning himself at the front of the thicket. His gaze is fixed on the war chief leading the charge, a figure of formidable stature, his shield glimmering in the sunlight, commanding attention with every motion. Hayes, calm and methodical, raises his rifle to take aim. The distance closes swiftly as arrows begin to rain down upon the thicket, heightening the chaos. In a fleeting instant, the war chief turns, raising his arm to signal his warriors. The movement leaves his torso briefly exposed, a small yet critical opening that Hayes has been waiting for. Without a moment's pause, the ranger captain pulls the trigger. The crack of the rifle pierces through the chaos of the battle, and the war chief crumples to the ground, mortally injured. The charge stutters as the Comanche warriors, fiercely loyal to their leader, scramble to recover his body. Yet their attempts are met with a barrage of gunfire from the Rangers, who take advantage of the moment. Now leaderless and disoriented, the Comanche begin to withdraw, their previously unstoppable drive faltering. The battlefield, still strewn with the remnants of the day's violence, drifts into a tense silence as the sun sets on the third day of this brutal and relentless conflict. The gunfire from the entrenched Rangers shatters the once unified Comanche charge, leading them to lose their focal point. The fall of their leader signifies a pivotal moment in the conflict. The war cries transform into mournful wails of loss. For the Rangers, this hard-fought breather is heavily overshadowed by the significant price paid in the battle. As the fighting wanes, the remaining Comanche warriors hover near the battlefield's edges, their movements marked by hesitation and sorrow. Motivated by loyalty and reverence, they repeatedly attempt to retrieve the body of their deceased war chief. Despite their brave efforts, they face brutal resistance as the entrenched Rangers deliver a relentless barrage of suppressive fire. The image of their fallen leader, a poignant emblem of their unity and strength, intensifies the depth of their tragedy. Disguised by the cover of night, a bold ranger daringly steps onto the battlefield to collect the fallen Comanche chief's body, dragging it back into the thicket. This action serves not just as a provocation, but as a strategic move to hinder the Comanche from reclaiming their leader and reigniting their morale. Additionally, this retrieval permits the Rangers to examine the chief's gear and symbols of authority. Yet, this act starkly reflects the harsh truths of frontier warfare, where the will to survive often comes at the cost of human decency. For the Comanche, this loss is deeply impactful. The death of their leader, coupled with their inability to recover his body, leaves them disheartened and demoralized. Their once strong commitment to driving the intruders from their land begins to falter. Realizing the futility of further sacrifices, the warriors start to withdraw, taking their remaining horses and companions with them. Their retreat is not a surrender, but a tactical recognition that continued fighting would lead to even greater losses. As the Comanche fade into the northwestern horizon, an unsettling silence blankets the battlefield. For the Rangers, the victory holds significance, but is accompanied by a sobering acknowledgement of the grim cost of the conflict. For the Comanche, this battle marks a painful chapter in their ongoing struggle, a testament to their resilience amidst the unyielding pressures of a rapidly changing frontier. For several tense hours after the Comanche withdrawal, Captain Jack Hayes holds his men in place. The prospect of a tactical feint, a maneuver the Comanche have used effectively in the past, lingers in his mind. Maintaining vigilance is crucial, and Hayes ensures that his rangers and scouts are prepared in case the enemy decides to strike again. Only when the horizon stays clear and silence envelops the battlefield does Hayes finally give the order to stand down. What follows is the grim aftermath of warfare. The Rangers and their scouts begin the somber duty of collecting war trophies, loot, weapons, and scalps, tokens of a hard-won victory overshadowed by loss and brutality. The battlefield, now hauntingly quiet, vividly recounts the violence of the day. Among the Rangers, casualties are surprisingly few. One man tends to an arrow wound to his forearm, and a lone horse lies dead, a testament to the strength and discipline of the defenders. In stark contrast, the Comanche suffered devastating losses. More than 100 of their warriors are dead, and many suspect that even more were mortally wounded or killed and carried off by their comrades during the retreat. As the clash at Paint Rock comes to an end, its repercussions leave a lasting impression on the land. For the Comanche, this defeat signifies not only a loss of warriors, but also a significant blow to their morale and control over their territory. This event marks a pivotal moment in the ongoing conflict between native tribes and settlers, highlighting the harsh realities of American westward expansion. For Captain Jack Hayes, this concludes his campaigns against the Comanche, yet his journey as a leader is far from finished. This encounter serves as a vivid reminder of the unrelenting struggles of the frontier and underscores the heavy cost of survival, as well as the indomitable spirit of those who fought to shape the American West. As the sun dips below the horizon on this bloody episode of Texas history, the battlefield stands as a vivid testament to the bravery, brutality, and unwavering resolve that characterize the narrative of this land. Yet, the many other stories of violence and retribution, of strength and compassion, must be saved for another occasion.